Welcome to Computer Programming with Sharon. In last class, we already discussed about how to handle the class and methods. We will try more examples for handling methods in this class. Just imagine you have to pass an array inside a method. How to do that? With the example, I will explain that. We will try to use two different files so that you will be able to handle multiple files within the same project. We would already have example.java with an entry point main method. So this will be the entry point or the startup file. One more file I am creating here with the name mymaths.java. So automatically created a class over there. We can avoid the public. It's not a compulsory part. If you are putting public also, there is no problem. Now, inside this mymaths class, we have to write a method which will take an array as a parameter. In example, I am trying to find out the sum of array elements. So sum of array elements, taking only integer elements, so return type will be integer itself because sum of array it's a single number. And method name I am putting as sum itself. We will pass an array inside that. So here ARR is an array. We are passing over there. And the result I want to save inside the S value. So initializing with the 0 and returning that value. In between this, we have to write the logic over there. We have to iterate one by one value in a variable. And that value we can directly add to the S. Now we got the solution. We are passing an array and it's finding the sum in a variable and it's returning there. Now we will check how to access this or how to call this method inside example. Both files are inside the same folder. So directly I can access without any importing statement. So first I will create an object of mymaths so that I can call those functions here. Now I need an array over here. We'll give the name as A itself. We already know how to read the values into an array from a console, but we didn't check how to initialize inside the program itself. So inside this example, I will use that method, giving some numbers directly. So you have to use the curly brace to initialize the array elements. Now the sum directly we can print inside a printing statement or create a variable over here with some name and call that method m1.sum, and I have to pass this array A over there. So this array will copy into this ARR and from there it will calculate the result, and the result we are getting inside the S value, or we can simply say result R itself. Now we have to print the array sum as R. So taking a printing statement over there, just writing sum equals or array sum equals to R. Now we will run and check the program. Here you can see it's correctly printing 11 plus 22 plus 33, that is 66. So this is working perfectly. And just imagine, in case if you want to return an array as a return type, how we will do that? For that, I am taking a solution for odd and even sum from an array. So two results are there, odd sum and even sum. So if you want to return two values at a time, we have to use the array. There is no other way. So our return type is an array and giving the name as odd even sum. We are passing an array here and return type is also an array. We have two sum values, odd sum and even sum. So if you are creating a variable over there, it should handle two values. So we can initialize this like this and return that value. Either you can directly give 0 0 like this or simply give new int of 2, because by default array will be initialized with 0. So this is not compulsory to write the initial value here. Other than 0 value, if you want to initialize, you have to follow this method. Now the next thing, we have to iterate elements one by one. So I am iterating those elements into x variable. Now we will cross check whether this x is even or not. So if it is even, I have to save this inside the second position, that is s of 1 plus equals x. If it is odd, That means in else, we have to save in first position. So array first element will be odd sum and second element will be even sum. Now we will try to call this method. So here we are getting two results over there. So the result should be an array itself. And the method name is odd even sum. Now odd sum we have to print from the first element. Even sum is a second element. Now run and check the output. Here odd sum is showing 44. Odd numbers are 11 and 33. So 11 plus 33 is 44. Only one even number is there, so that is 22. So it's showing the answer correctly. Now we will write a program where we can pass multi-dimensional arrays. An example will take 2D dimension itself. Problem I am taking, check whether the given matrix is diagonal or not. A diagonal matrix is a square matrix with diagonal elements should be non-zero and non-diagonal elements should be 0. So this is an example for diagonal matrix. We have to ensure the diagonal elements should be non-zero. It can be negative also, no problem. And others should be 0. So using the program, we will try those. In our example, the result is a Boolean value, yes or no type. And parameter is a 2D array. So writing the return type as Boolean itself is diagonal. We are giving the name as is diagonal and we have to pass a 2D array over there. By default, I am trying to return a true value, imagining that our matrix will be a diagonal matrix. Now we have to cross check any rules are violating over there. If any rules are violating, that time we have to return false. First I will try to save the row size and column size in some variable. So if you are taking array name dot length, you will get the row size and column size taking from the first row itself. At least one row will be there, then only the program will work, otherwise it will create error. We can't pass the null values. So row value and column value is saved over there. What was the first rule? It should be a square matrix, right? So if it is violating that, R not equal to C, that means if it is violating, that means time we can return a false value over there. Now the next thing, we have to check the diagonal and non-diagonal elements. So we need a position values, so we will use the normal loop over there. We have to check the diagonal elements. Diagonal elements I and j positions will be same. That time if it is 0, then it's violating the rule. So it should not be 0. If it is 0, it's violating rule. So I'm checking the same thing. If it is 0, then it's violating the rule. That means we have to return false value. And non-diagonal elements, that should be 0 itself. So if it is not 0, then it's violating the rule. So our program is complete. Now we'll check with some 2D arrays over there. So see the program checking square or not and diagonal elements 0 or not. If it is 0, then violating, and non-diagonal elements should be 0. If it is not 0, then again it's false. If all the conditions are matching, none of the return statement will work and it will return true value. So I'm just removing this values. We have to create a 2D array over there. So giving the name as A itself. 2D array also should be initialized with the curly braces. And each row we will write inside this. So it's first row, second row. Now it's not a square matrix. So if you are checking this one, we should get a false value. Inside the if, directly I am calling m1 dot is diagonal and passing this. If it is returning true, then we have to say diagonal matrix. Else we have to say it's a non-diagonal matrix. Run the program and check the result. It's a non-diagonal. Now we will check with a square matrix. Now this is square matrix. Again it's not a diagonal matrix. So diagonal matrix, diagonal elements should be non-zero, right? So diagonal elements I am making as non-zero. But again others should be 0. Again this is violating the rule non-diagonal. Now all the rules are correct. It's diagonal matrix. So the program is working perfectly. If you are making slight changes, we can write the method for scalar matrix and unit matrix checking. In scalar matrix, diagonal elements should be same number. So first rule, it should be a diagonal matrix and the scalar elements should be same thing. So we will copy paste and we'll check how to write a method to check the scalar matrix. So giving the name as scalar. All the scalar matrices are diagonal matrix, but all the diagonal matrices are not scalar. Here this is okay because we have to check whether it is a square matrix or not. Now the first element I am saving inside a variable over there. It is mat of 0, 0. So it's a diagonal element also, right? So diagonal element should not be a 0. So that I can check from here itself. If fp equals 0, we don't need to continue. Return 0. Return false. Return false. Now all the diagonal elements should be this first element itself. So if it is not first element, then we have to return the false statement. Now we will change this is diagonal to scalar. So we are checking scalar or not. Run the program. Here of course it's a diagonal matrix, but it's a non-scalar because all these elements should be non-zero. It can be negative also, no problem. Now see, this is a scalar matrix. And in unit matrix, that it should be a scalar matrix, but the element should be 1. So I'll just copy paste this one again and we'll change this into is unit. So this much is okay. Now here, if it is not 1, we can terminate that. And this part it's okay. Either I can write fe or 1 itself. Changing is scalar to is unit over here. Run the program. I didn't change the message. Okay, now run the program. Here you can say it's not unit matrix. Of course it's a scalar, but it's not a unit. If it's a unit matrix, then all these numbers should be 1 itself. Now this is a unit matrix. So see the program again. Next question, like, is it possible to pass and return 2D arrays? So already we passed 2D arrays. Is it possible to return 2D arrays? So we will take another example, multiply matrices. So we have to find out the product of two matrices. Then the result will return to the main program. So first I will explain how to multiply or find out the product of matrices. Imagine xy is the size of first matrix and mn is the size of second matrix. Then y and m should be same, then only possible to do the multiplication. That means first matrix column size and second matrix row size should be matched, then only possible to multiply this. Here this is like 3 rows are there and 2 columns, 3 by 2. So y is 2. And 2 rows and 3 columns, 2 by 3. So again this is 2. So 2 and 2 we can multiply. And the result matrix will be xn. That is first matrix row size and second matrix column size. And you have to multiply row into column. That is AB into GJ and AB into GK, AB into IL. And second row will be CD into GJ, CD into, like that this should go. So see this one. We can see A into G, right? Plus B into J. So row into column. And second element is A into H and B into K. Third, A into I and B into L. And second row, C into G plus D into J. Like that it should go. So we will apply this inside our program. As I said, return type is also a 2D array. And we have to find out the product or multiples of two matrices. So I'll just give the name as product itself. We will pass two 2D arrays over there. And the result will save inside third dimension and that will return. Now we will declare the same variables for row size and column size as inside this picture. So first is xy and second one is mn. Int x equal to a dot length. Int y equal to a of 0 dot length. At least one row will be there. So first matrix size is xy. Then now second matrix size is m equal to b dot length. Int n equal to b of 0 dot length like this. Now we have to check whether y equal to m or not. First column matrix column size and second matrix row size should be equal. If y not equal to m, return. Here it's not possible to return false or something else. If it's a single integer variable, we can return 0 or negative values. But here it's an array. For 2D array or multi-dimensional array, if we can't continue, we can terminate using the return null value. Now, if it is possible to multiply, then we can decide the size of C. That is new int of x n. First matrix row size and second matrix column size will be the answer as seen here, xn size. Now I will write the logic to multiply like this way, this into this and this into this, like that we have to write the logic. If you have any confusion, you can take a paper and you can write out the position and you can find out this one. And again, if you are not getting what I am writing over here, put it in comment. I will make another video which will explain how it's working. Handling the row. X is the row size for the result matrix. Now handling the column, and n is the size of result matrix column size. Now the answer we have to save inside the C. So element first I am refreshing with 0 or initializing with 0. This is not a compulsory part in Java because by default all the array element value will be 0. So this is not compulsory, but anyway, better to initialize the value. Now we have to do this operation. So for that I am writing one more loop over there, which will handle with y or m because both are same. A of I k into b of k j. Those are statements for multiplication. Now we'll cross check. We have to create two matrices over there. So for first matrix I am just giving the name as A. We'll take the same sizes. This is 3 by 2. 3 rows are there, 2 columns are there. First row, second row and third row. So 2 columns and 3 rows, 3 into 2. Now we'll write the second matrix. Here inside this example, this is 2 rows and 3 columns. So 2 by 3. 3 columns and 2 rows. Now the result we can save inside another matrix called CC. M1 dot product and pass this A and B. Now if it is not possible to multiply or find out the product, this will return null. So before printing we have to check that also. If CC contains null, then it's not possible to print the matrices. So we can say check the sizes of matrices. We have to check the sizes of matrices, then only, else we have to print the CCR elements. So first I am iterating into a single dimension array this CC value, and that single dimension array will iterate into single element, and each row we have to separate using the new line. Now run and check the program. We are getting the answer. So you can manually multiply and cross check whether this is correct or not. Now I am modifying with one more row over there. We'll copy paste this and running the program again. This is also giving answer because like this is 4 by 2 and 2 by 3. So its column size and its row size is matching. So it should work. Now changing from here. Here row size is 2 and column size is 3. So column size and row size, it's not matching. So we will get a null value and say check the size of matrices. So I think this much is clear for you. Any doubt, write in comment, like the video, subscribe the channel and share to your friends. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.